When you think about the big wildlife dramas, you probably picture lions on the hunt or elephants migrating.
The big dramatic stuff.
Exactly. But today, prepare to shift your focus. We've done a deep dive into an observation from a birdwatcher that focuses on a bird that weighs literally about as much as a 10 rand note.
And yet its parenting strategy is this incredible masterclass in risk management and just relentless hard work.
So which bird are we talking about?
We're talking about the Blue-Mantled Crested-Flycatcher. Sometimes you'll hear it called the African Crested-Flycatcher.
And our source here is a really detailed observational study from a dedicated birdwatcher, right?
Yeah.
Focusing on just one nesting pair.
Yes, just one pair along South Africa's incredible garden route. It's a real immersion into resilience, but on a miniature scale.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission is to really understand how these tiny, these diminutive forest gems can possibly raise a family.
A very vulnerable family.
Right on the edge of the wild and, well, the suburban. And I think what's key here is to pull out this surprisingly sophisticated behavior. This ultimate anti-predator strategy they have.
It's all about survival. When you just look at the numbers, you get a sense of the challenge they're up against.
What are we talking, size-wise?
The bird averages about 15 centimeters long, and it weighs a mere 10 grams.
10 grams.
That's nothing.
It's nothing. So every single behavior, everything from finding food to cleaning the nest, it has to be perfectly optimized. They have absolutely zero margin for error.
And before we get into all the strategy, we have to talk about how they look. Because you could so easily miss them.
You really could. They're tucked away in the understory.
But once you spot one, they're just unmistakable. It's that namesake feature, that glossy, almost patent leather blue-black crest.
It's especially vibrant on the male. It just stands out against this sort of subtle, dusty green body.
It's a real statement piece in a world that's mostly about camouflage, isn't it? It is. It's this phenomenal flash of color, especially when the light hits that crest just right. But what's so fascinating here is where the observation took place.
This wasn't deep in some remote, pristine reserve.
Not at all. This pair was documented nesting in a Milkwood forest right in Sedgefield in the Western Cape.
On the garden route.
Right on the garden route.
And that location, the Milkwood Forest, that's critical, isn't it?
It is. For anyone who isn't familiar, Milkwood forests are these really dense, compact, indigenous pockets. They provide a very specific kind of shelter.
But the birdwatcher noted that this nest wasn't deep inside, it was on the fringe.
Exactly. Right where the indigenous trees start to give way to residential gardens.
So that's the key detail here.
That's the key ecological nuance. The Milkwood provides the essential structure, the thick cover, the right branches for their little cup-shaped nests, and of course, a reliable supply of the small insects they need.
But nesting next to a garden, that brings a whole new set of problems, I'd imagine.
A whole new suite of pressures, absolutely.
So, what exactly? Why not just go deeper into the forest and avoid us completely? What's the benefit of being right on that boundary?
Well, that's the adaptability insight. If we connect this to the bigger picture, by using that fringe habitat, they might actually be gaining access to other food sources.
From the gardens?
Potentially. Or maybe there's just slightly lack competition from the deep forest specialists, but they pay a price for it.
Which is?
Increased exposure. Domestic predators, cats, dogs, and just more frequent disturbances from human activity in general.
So the fact that they can thrive there.
Yeah.
What does that tell us?
It tells us two things. One, it speaks to the quality of the indigenous fragments that are left along the garden route. And two, it shows the species' incredible resilience. It shows that even small protected pockets of native flora can support specialized life.
But only if they have the right strategy.
Provided the inhabitants have the behavioral sophistication to navigate living on that edge.
So their survival isn't just about finding a good spot. It's about having superior behaviors to manage the risk. And that behavior really starts with just constant, exhausting work to feed their chicks.
It has to. For a bird that small, the metabolic demands are, they're off the charts. They're like these tiny little engines that run incredibly hot, so they need near constant refueling.
Especially with hungry chicks in the nest.
Especially then.
And here's where it gets really, really interesting for me. The report from the birdwatcher emphasized the sheer intensity of the parenting.
It's a full-time job for two.
It's a total team effort. The male and female were seen working tirelessly, almost in a rhythm. This isn't just, you take a turn, I'll take a turn. This looked like a highly efficient logistical operation.
And it has to be that efficient because of their very specialized diet.
They're insectivores.
They are dedicated, highly tuned insectivores. The chicks need massive amounts of protein to grow fast enough to fledge and just get out of the nest before a predator finds them.
And they're focusing on very specific things, right?
Very specific. Small, soft-bodied invertebrates only.
The report actually detailed specific meals, didn't it? It
Yeah.
wasn't just bugs.
Correct. The Birdwatcher documented the parents bringing back protein-rich butterflies, moths, and all sorts of caterpillars. But crucially, they were also bringing aerial insects.
Flying insects.
Yes, which highlights that they can't just rely on one layer of the forest. They have to be able to hunt across the entire vertical food column.
Okay, so that brings up a question about efficiency. If you're a 10-gram bird flying all day, you have to maximize every single trip.
Every single one.
So how do you catch a caterpillar sitting on a leaf 1 minute and then a fast-moving butterfly the next? That feels like two totally different skill sets.
It is, and it requires this remarkable display of agility and situational awareness. They use a dual hunting strategy.
Okay.
So the first method is called gleaning.
Gleaming.
This is the slow, painstaking, meticulous search. They'll hover or cling for a moment and expertly pick tiny prey spiders, soft larvae caterpillars, right off the undersides of leaves or twigs.
Often from under lichens where things hide.
Exactly. It's the surgical approach, all about patience and precision.
I like that. The surgical approach.
But then, to supplement that slow gleaning, they have to switch tactics to catch those faster-moving protein packets, like moths or small flies.
And that's where they use, what'd you call it?
Hawking.
Hawking. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the opposite of slow and surgical.
Completely. This requires explosive speed. They'll launch from a hidden perch and perform these incredibly graceful mid-air pursuit maneuvers right through the dense, complex mesh of the milkwood canopy.
Wow.
They snatch the insect and then immediately fly back to their perch or straight to the nest.
The agility required to do that, to fly at high speed through that dense forest without hitting vines or branches. That's just astonishing.
It is. It's the perfect blend of slow, methodical searching and explosive dynamic action. It ensures the chicks are always getting fed no matter where the insects are hiding.
And all that relentless feeding.
Yeah.
That sets up the next big problem, doesn't it?
It does. Success breeds waste, and waste attracts a lot of unwanted attention.
Which brings us to the ultimate behavioral trade-off. All that protein goes in, but, well, it has to come out. And that leaves behind a massive liability for a nest that is supposed to be hidden.
A huge liability.
And this is where the female's actions, documented by the Birdwatcher, really show their sophisticated intelligence.
Yes. The absolute focus on meticulous nest sanitation.
So what was she doing?
The Birdwatcher saw the female frequently removing the chick's faecal sacs. Now, for you listening, a faecal sac is a tiny, neat little membrane that encloses the chick's waste.
Nature's little diaper, basically.
It is. It's designed by nature to make hygiene management easier for the parents.
But the real genius here isn't just that she removes it. I mean, lots of birds do that. The incredible detail is where she takes it.
And the energy she's willing to spend to do it.
Right.
What's fascinating here is this behavior is absolutely key to survival for such a tiny, vulnerable family. We know a 10-gram bird is operating on a razor-thin energy budget.
Every single flight costs calories.
Calories that have to be replaced. But the female does not, under any circumstances, drop that sack anywhere near the nest.
Even though that would be the most efficient, the most convenient thing to do.
Absolutely. The report stresses that she carries the sack a disproportionate distance away, far enough that the birdwatcher often lost sight of her before she finally dropped it.
So why? Why spend that critical energy? Couldn't she just fly high up and drop it?
That might solve the visual problem from below, but it doesn't solve the smell problem.
Ah, the sense.
And it still keeps the disposal site within the general area. Predators that hunt for small nests, we're talking snakes, monkeys, maybe even certain shrews in that habitat, they rely heavily on scent trails.
And on ground signs, accumulated debris.
All of it. So if the parents just drop the sack, say 20 feet away, day after day, that would build up a faint but detectable concentration of scent and visual evidence.
It's like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs.
You're basically creating a perimeter around the nest entrance that screams, food here.
So by carrying it far away.
And often in different directions each time, the parents are completely dissipating the evidence. They are prioritizing long-term security over their immediate caloric savings.
That is a calculated, conscious decision. spend extra energy now to eliminate the clues that a predator would be looking for.
That's it. You're talking about a tiny bird making a complex risk assessment calculation that involves sacrificing precious energy for security. The level of commitment to stealth is it's
And it
extreme.
really confirms that for these highly vulnerable species, adaptation isn't just about physical traits like camouflage or just picking a good spot.
It's about a highly refined, almost obsessive behavioral routine. The cleanliness of that nest site, maintained at such a high energy cost, is the single most critical factor in reducing the risk of predation.
It turns the nest from a vulnerability to an invisible fortress.
That's a perfect way to put it.
It's a really powerful insight into avian parenting. So when you look at the blue-mantled crested flycatcher, you see this beautiful tiny bird with a brilliant crest somehow thriving right next to us on the garden route.
But the deep dive shows us what's really going on.
Behind the beauty, there's a sophisticated teamwork-based logistics operation
Involving specialized hunting techniques.
and an almost fanatical dedication to sanitation.
We learned that their secret weapon isn't their size or strength, but their strategy. They minimize risk by maximizing cleanliness, even when the energy cost is so high.
So what does this all mean? For me, it's a wonderful reminder that when you're out there, maybe walking along the garden route, the forest understory holds this hidden strategic genius.
These birds aren't just surviving, they're exhibiting complex, successful behaviors right under our noses.
And that leads us to a final thought for you to consider. This tiny bird, succeeding right on the suburban fringe, demonstrates that the most essential survival strategies often aren't the loudest or the most obvious ones.
They're the constant, unnoticed, complex behaviors, like meticulous hygiene that require daily sacrifice. Which raises a question, I think. What other critical yet unnoticed survival strategies are taking place in the fringes of our own neighborhoods? Strategies we routinely fail to see because we're always looking for the grand and the obvious, and we overlook the small strategic magic happening right outside our window.